Welcome to Wildlife Rehabilitation from Rescue to Release, a podcast dedicated to licensed wildlife rehabilitators and the veterinarians who support them. I'm your host, Gail Buell. Second episode of a podcast about NWRA, or the National Wildlife Rehabilitators Association. This is an association that was started in Minnesota way back in 1982 and has been around for the profession of wildlife rehabilitation ever since. They offer a lot of different services and a lot of different products for wildlife rehabilitators. If you didn't listen to part one, you may want to do that. But my guests were Dr. Karra Pierce, and she is the Director of Veterinary Services for the Wildlife Center of Virginia, and Amanda Nicholson. She's the Senior Vice President for the Wildlife Center of Virginia, and both are very much involved in the NWRA and its working. Dr. Pierce is on the Board of Directors for NWRA, and Amanda Nicholson is on the committee for the program for the symposium. We had a really, really good conversation. I hope you enjoy it. So, okay, let's talk about some of the other things that NWRA does.
Oh, goodness. Okay. So, I mean,
take a deep breath.
Yeah, here we go.
That's a lot.
It has certainly grown a ton. And the organization really, we'll talk more about mission and everything in a little bit, but our goal really is to support wildlife rehabilitators across the nation in this profession, right? So all of our kind of member benefits and offerings are rooted in that, really. A large piece of that we've talked about, of course, is symposium, that education piece. And something I think a lot of people don't know is one of the member benefits, not to dwell on symposium any further, but just for one more second,
that's okay,
is a lot of that symposium content is actually recorded and available online historically through the years. So you can go back several years. And if you weren't able to make it to Symposium 2022, but you really wanted to see my talk, I don't remember what it was on right now, but surely it's great. You can go back through the archive and watch that recorded content. And to me, as a veterinarian who, has to get CE and those types of things, there's more than 100 hours. There's so much content on there. To me, symposium aside, all the other benefits aside, the cost of membership is worth just to gain access to that. Yeah. Really, that is an incredible member benefit. And then again, a lot of this is rooted in, learning and education. So we have a whole arm of our organization dedicated to publications. We have a publications manager on staff, Jenny, and she works to get new books published from the experts in our field. And NWRA supports those publications, gets them out there. Members get, a discount, but anyone can purchase them and access that content. So they're books that I use in my hospital every single day. The NWRA formulary, mine, it's falling apart because I use it so much. We have so many copies in our hospital, and that is a book that is written and published by NWRA that has common drug doses for the common species we see. And that's something that, wouldn't exist if it wasn't for this organization kind of pushing it forward. I could talk endlessly about publications, so you could probably do a whole episode on publications with Jenny, honestly. But the other one, and you've talked to Kai from IWRC as well, but NWRA and IWC have a joint publication called Standards for Wildlife Rehabilitation. And to me, that's, the Wildlife Rehabilitation Bible. We all know what it is, of course, but if you're listening and you don't know what it is, members get access to an online copy, or you can purchase a copy in the store. And it is an extensive book about, what should we be doing for these animals, quite literally. What do these animals need? How much space do they need? What should the enclosure look like? What should it be made of? And it's very comprehensive. And that is a wonderful publication of NWRA, but there's many, many, many more orthopedic.
Well, I'm going to stop you there because I do want to talk about the standards for just a second. So that book, the updated, because it came from the set of publications called the Minimum Standards for Wildlife Rehabilitation. And when you hear minimum, then people are like, well, I just have to be at this level.
Yes.
And at NWRA, um, I have just a little bit of intel, but you know all this too. Know that instead of saying minimum, let's say standards.
Yeah. Yes.
And then I know that part of it was patterned after how AZA, Association of Zoos and Aquariums, do their standards. Is that I say, yeah, these are the standards, but really what you should be aiming for is this. Because the next time that there's an updated version of the standards, it will be reflecting that higher level.
Yeah.
And that's how we keep progressing with best practices. So it gives everybody, oh, look at this. This is actually what I should be aiming for,
Yeah.
is this. And again, every rehabilitator listening to this, or if you know another rehabilitator that is not listening to this, everybody needs to have this on their shelf or
Yes.
have an electronic copy. You have to. I cannot tell you. I mean, I refer to the minimum standards all the time, but now with the standards, it is dog-eared. It is got, I do a lot of things with post-it notes, so I have post-it note little tabs all over the place. It has great photographs. And the other thing just to know is a lot of states and the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service at the federal level use that book and some of the minimum standards from previous as their standards to look at your facilities. So not only is this a phenomenal reference for rehabilitators, it is also looked at um, the state and federal government look to the International Association, but also NWRA, especially with these publications. So everybody needs to invest in them. So there you go. There's my plug.
Thank you, Gail. You summarized it very, very well. I appreciate that.
Oh, you're so welcome. I love that book so
I
much.
love I love that book. I love all our books, honestly. I mean, I will stop going on about all the books, but if you have not checked out our publication offerings, just do so. I would suggest there's books there you don't even know you need yet, I would say. And a lot of them are really, really great references for the work we do.
Oh,
Um,
okay, I'm going to jump in here again because,
yeah,
okay,
no,
so I love reference material. Love it.
yes.
And all the time I'm looking at what are the offerings for NWRA, and I'm like, huh, I I may not do that particular species, but it's like, wow, that sounds really interesting. And I'll purchase the book.
Mhm.
I find that there's a lot of crossover between lots of different things, and I have gotten so much information that way. That's the first thing. The other plug for the publication that I adore, I love the formulary. It works great with my vet and me, talking back and forth. But the quick reference
Mhm.
is one of my very favorite publications. And I work with a lot of rehabilitators, and this quick reference is actually not very expensive at all. It's a small little book, spiral bound. Oh my gosh, you can flip back and forth all kinds of great information from fluid therapy to anatomy to all kinds of things. I can't even remember them all right now, but I will often gift it to a new rehabilitator
Mhm.
as just here, I'm going to give this to you, and this is going to be your entry point, and we're going to get you some other publications. But it's one of my absolute favorites. So there you
That's
go.
a great idea as a gift. And we also actually we're working on this. You can gift membership now as well.
Oh,
So if there's
ooh.
a rehabilitator in your life who you're like, for Christmas, I'm gonna buy you an NWA membership so you can access all this content.
That's great.
It was something new that Sarah worked on to make
Nice.
happen because it's been a request from people
Because
before, which
people
is
can put it on their Christmas
exactly, you can put it on your Christmas
holiday
list or your
and
yeah,
Or
exactly.
your birthday list or something.
whatever.
Or a
Just-
donor request list,
Yeah,
like
yeah,
something a
that's
donor
good.
could purchase for you.
I like that.
So that's a new fun thing. But yeah, that's a great point, Gail. And there's a lot of really great veterinary publications as well from a
Yes.
veterinary perspective.
Mhm.
There's we call it the green book, but the orthopedics topic book is again, pages falling out because we use it so often in our
Mhm.
clinic. To be clear, not falling out due to poor quality, but falling out because we use it so
Because you're
much.
using
I'm like,
it.
all the pages are falling out.
No,
Um,
I want that page. You fight over it. Give me that.
yeah.
Oh, sorry.
There's also, really cool things like endoparasite charts. So you can get this
Yes.
really beautiful chart that's printed out and laminated. And for the more um scientifically inclined among us, you can look at, the eggs you would see on fecals, all those types of things. And you can have that on your counter in your clinic, in your rehab center,
Hmm.
if you're doing
Hmm.
fecals, to see exactly what that would look like and figure out what parasite your wildlife patient has, which probably is multiple, to be honest, in
Hmm.
the animals
Oh,
we
yeah.
work with. And then other kind of just reference material, if I can keep talking about it for a
Yes.
moment, we
Hmm.
also have our Wildlife Rehabilitation Bulletin, which is a peer-reviewed journal that the NWRA publishes, and Jenny works very hard on that as well. Um, and we publish that peer-reviewed journal for everyone to have access to and have literature and again reference material on that is very topical and relevant to our field. And there's lots of journals out there. There's zoo journals, there's wildlife journals, but this one is specifically focused on wildlife rehabilitation and the work we do. And that is a fabulous resource. And certainly, I know Jenny's always looking for people to write for that journal as well. If
I'm
you
glad you
have
said
a
that.
a
Hmm.
research project or a topic you're an expert on, that's a great place to disseminate that knowledge or expertise with our membership and our
But what
community.
if I've never written an article like that?
That's a great question.
There are very helpful
Yeah.
resources to guide you through it.
Mhm.
I've written a couple, but I actually just submitted one a couple months ago about on more of the operational side of things,
Mhm.
about our salary survey that we did.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But it had been a little while since I had written one, and it's like all on the website. It walks you right through it down to like how to, do your Word document and what size font to use, and here are
Mhm.
your main sections, and it's like it very much walks you through it of like, oh, yep, this is great. This is how you break it down. So it's less.
Which is amazing because that piece can also be very intimidating. Hey, I've got some information no one has talked about turtle shells in this way, or I've not seen that, and I would like to talk about it, or this one, you know, instance with this one case or something like that. The other thing, and I've helped write a few things too for this, that's why I bring this up, is that Jenny, because it is peer reviewed, if you
Yeah.
have any questions, she answers them.
Mhm.
If and then because it gets looked at by a lot of people that have a lot of expertise, it doesn't become an intimidating process. It becomes a nice review to help you make it better
Yes.
before it gets published. So yeah, I would encourage anybody that has something um, that they would like to talk about,
Yeah.
or they haven't seen it yet but they have some information about it,
Yeah.
to try.
And I mean, I think the thing to me, we could go on all day just listing out all of the things. But to me, NWRA fundamentally is about supporting the profession of wildlife rehabilitation. If you look at mission and vision and goals and all that, you'll see the word profession pop up quite a
Mhm.
lot, right? So this is really supporting
Hmm.
this field that started with everyone at some point. Rehabilitation's been happening since the dawn of time, I'm sure.
Hmm.
But NWRA really wanted to pull us all up
Hmm.
and professionalize this field and then support that growth, which
Hmm.
ultimately comes down to education and best practices. And I think
Mhm.
we all know, even if Karra wasn't born in 1982 and she's the youngest one among us, like things change over time, right? The way that we do
Hmm.
things today is not how we were doing them 10 years ago, 20 years ago. I can list millions of examples here from like
Hmm.
how the vet staff repairs owl eyeballs to bird training, right?
Right.
So I think NWA continues to push best practices through so many different avenues
Mhm.
and like getting that information from the people who are out there on the front lines doing it and then trying to pull it all in and put it into a lot of different varieties for people to digest so they can keep learning. So I think,
Hmm.
Gail, you had mentioned that you love references
Hmm.
and, the like, your hands are up of like holding the book, like you want to
The
touch
book.
the book. So I feel like NWRA has physical books you can buy. They have the live in-person
Mhm.
symposium. They have recorded content from past symposiums. They have online courses that walk you through a variety of topics. They have this digital journal article. And there's probably more I'm forgetting too, but like all these different mediums. So if you're like, I just want to hold the book, great. NWRA has something for you. If you're learn better in person, or online or at your own leisure and you want to queue something up and listen to it while you're washing the dishes or whatever, like you can do that too.
Mm-hmm.
And if you, and it tends to be a little overwhelming. So I will also give a shout out to I am a person who loves a good search engine deeply because it's
Yes.
overwhelming to me and I have little time to devote to this and a shorter attention span too. So I'm like, if I want to know something, NWRA has a searchable database on their
Database, that's
website,
right. Mm-hmm.
and I go to it pretty regularly as a program coordinator for the symposium of like, oh, do we have that? When was the last time we talked about this content?
Mm-hmm.
But if
Mm-hmm.
you're a rehabilitator and you're like, man, what are the head trauma references out there? You can
Mm-hmm.
just type in head trauma and see what journal articles talk about that and when, and see like, oh yeah, Nikki Rosenhagen did a talk on that in 2022, and here's the recording.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's pretty cool too, just knowing that there's so many different mediums to sort through, but there's this wonderful database that will help point you to the direction that you want to go in.
Yeah.
And some of those, especially in the database, are articles or whatever media that are what are, I think, is called open access. So you don't have to be a member for
Yes.
some of those.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I found many, many things, and of course I'm a member, but I found many of those too. So I think that's really cool too.
Yeah. No, I think that's a good point. Is like it's we want to be accessible and reachable to every corner of our community and our profession. And on that note, actually, I'll mention one other kind of thing we do
Please.
that I'm very passionate about. We do also have scholarships. I kind of touched on this
Mhm.
earlier. We do have scholarships to try to get people to symposium, to attend symposium. We also have scholarships that you can apply for, if you need to construct a new cage, or it's not a large sum of money, but if you have a project, there are scholarships you can apply for educational materials. If you need a new book, for example, to attend symposium, that's the biggest chunk. And then
Mhm.
there's a enclosure housing scholarship as well. So that's just something really important for people to know. If you're listening and you're like, man, I really want to go to symposium, but I cannot afford it. There's no money in the budget for this. There are
Mhm.
options for you as well to apply for scholarships. The deadline is passed for this year, but watch out for it for next year. And there are also research grants as well that we
Yes, I'm glad you're bringing that
offer.
up. Yep.
So again, it's not, you're not going to complete your $100,000 project with this research grant. It's a smaller research grant, but it is for people in our field to be able to perform that research to advance our profession and advance our mission
Mhm.
and make sure we, learn more so we can do better. So that is available as well. And you have to submit a proposal. My hero, Dr. Rebecca Dewar, is in charge of that. So she takes care of with a committee. They go over all the grant proposals and pick who is going to get the money. So
Mhm.
that's just two more things that we do that are all, again, serving this mission of pushing the profession forward and ensuring that the animals under our care get the best possible care and that we know how to give the best possible care.
Mhm. I really like what you're talking about now, and what Amanda kind of really pushed forward, because we are going to talk about goals and mission and everything here, is profession.
Hmm.
And I think that most rehabilitators, not all, but most, are pretty much lifelong learners. They know they've got to find information to do the best they can for the animal that they have. And it is, like Amanda mentioned, it's about best practices. We don't know everything about everything right now. We didn't 20 years ago, but we know a lot more now than we did 20 years ago. And so we need to update our information as things change. Um, because things shouldn't stand still. It shouldn't be, well, this is the only way to do this X. And in rehabilitation, one of the things I kind of like is that there are many really good ways to do something. It's not generally one way works for everybody all the time, but there's a lot of good ways. There's also a lot of bad ways. And I think being a profession, having these resources available, encouraging people to read, learn, network, all that kind of stuff, keeps you on the path of critical thinking so you can decide, no, this way might be slightly different than what I've been taught, but it's still in best practices and it's still one of the quote unquote good ways to do it. So I really love infusing all the work that you do and language matters and using the word profession and professional and then having that bar set and people generally will really strive to meet that bar if it's set. And I think that IWRC, of course, does this as well, but NWRA does it in spades. So, anything else before we get into mission and
Oh
goals?
my goodness. There are lots of other member benefits. I will just say I don't
Oh,
want to
please,
read
please.
them. I don't want to read them off necessarily.
Oh, yeah.
But there are some other member benefits just by being a member that you get. Things like free access to Cornell's Birds of the World, things like that. Resources that are great
Hmm.
for rehabilitators. We for many years were paying for an account to Birds of the World. Maybe one year we might have had two accounts on accident. But that is a free member benefit. So that's incredible that you don't have to pay for that. You can get an account, you can go on there and find out about the species you're working with. That website is
It's amazing.
incredible. You can find out about migration, about what the animals eat, what their weight should be. It can help you
Hmm.
identify the bird if you're like, never seen one of these,
Hmm.
which we all have had happen in this field, of course.
We don't have to read them all, but I
Yeah.
think that's the thing of when you're looking into if you're considering a membership or considering to ask someone to get you one for your birthday, which is an excellent idea. Just, make sure you have your member benefits, I don't know, pinned to your
Yes.
cork board or something, but also look at them online regularly because I think certainly over the past few years, NWRA, the staff and the board have really pushed to acquire more resources, right? So it's not
Hmm.
just the like discounts on education courses and all that, but it's like a discount on incubators or like trying to negotiate a deal for discounts on scrub tops or that
Hmm.
sort of thing of like
Hmm.
things that rehabilitators and wildlife hospitals use regularly. And WRA pushes hard to try and find ways to make that more accessible to people. And that's
Hmm.
all included in these membership
Yeah.
benefits, which is hard to keep up with,
Yeah.
especially as an organizational membership. My greatest challenge is making sure people know of like, don't just get that. Let's check and see if it's a member benefit because it
Yeah.
probably
Right.
is.
Right.
There's one more
Hmm.
thing about that I want to mention. Oh, we also have lately, I've been starting this as the chair of the membership committee, having quarterly membership webinars where we open up a Zoom call. We'll have, an expert from our field come speak about something. Amanda presented once. Um,
Mm.
and then, we can learn together, but then also discuss, what member benefits do you want to see? How can the organization help you? So we have these quarterly member meetings
Hmm.
where people can come together and learn something, but also, share feedback about what they want to see from our organization because we are a member organization, as you have stated earlier, and we want to serve those members and do the best to support them in their professionalism in their field.
Yeah, all this is great. So, where in the world do you find this?
Oh, great question. So we have a very beautiful website, and if you go on our website, there is a tab called Member Resources, and that will go through all your details about what member benefits you have, how to access them. If you're not a member, you can also become a member online. You just sign up online. It's quite simple to do, and that will gain you access to all of those resources and all of those discounts as well. And there
What's
are
the web?
different, oh, sorry, go ahead, Gail.
Oh, no, I was going to say, what's the website?
What's the website? Oh, good question. NWRAwildlife.org
Hmm.
is the website. If you just Google NWRA, it brings up something else. National Water Resource Association or something is the first one. So these
Yep.
do include wildlife, because I've been on that water website more times than I care to admit trying to get to this website.
Oh,
Um,
yeah. And finally, now mine pops up the wildlife part. So I'm like, okay, good. I don't have to think about it anymore. But
And I
yeah.
was going to say too, there are different levels of membership membership.
Mm-hmm.
So you can be an individual member, you can be a student member, which is a little bit cheaper. If there's any students listening, you need to be a full-time student, but that's a great time to join when it's a little cheaper and get in and get those resources. There's a lifetime membership, a family membership, which is for two people in the same household.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's organizational membership. So that's what we have here at the Wildlife Center, is we have an organizational level membership, and you can have different sizes to fit how many people you want to have access within your
Mm-hmm.
organization. And we have that here so that various staff members can access these benefits without everyone having to have their own individual account.
Yeah, the other thing maybe I'm going to point out is that rehabilitators, of course, are always thinking about, I've got to buy the formula, I've got to get the incubator, I've got to get towels or syringes or whatever, all the supplies, all that stuff. But I think that more people, I'm hoping, also think that a very important part of their budget is things like memberships.
Yes.
Not just to the state organization, which if they have one, you better be a member of that, but also to the national organization. And I'm going to push this here too. I think IWRC, the international organization, is another one. I'm a nerd, and so in my personal rehab, I'm a member of IWRC, NWRA, my state organization here in Minnesota, but also I'm a member of 4 other state organizations. And I love it because there's so many different resources and webinars and all kinds of things. But I think what the national level can do and NWRA can do is really important for all of us. All of us. And I think that we need to be supportive and get all those great member benefits.
Yeah,
Okay.
and
Okay. I'm done with my advertisement.
well, you're talking, Gail, about like, how rehabbers need all these resources, need to buy formula, need to buy this, you need to pay your electricity. But you, at the end of the day, you are the most important resource you need. None of those things are useful without you, right? As the
Mhm.
rehabilitator, and you need to invest in yourself and your skills. That is, in my mind, the best place you can spend your money, really, is investing in yourself to be better for the patients. So I think that's a thing we often forget. We're like, oh, we need to buy this, we need to buy that. But at the end of the day, the individual doing the work is the most important resource you need to have to do the job. So invest.
And if you're thinking about, so of course, this podcast is sponsored by Partners for Wildlife, right? And Partners for Wildlife is all about trying to raise animal welfare and wildlife rehabilitation. And we have recognized for a very long time and really have heavily invested in continuing education and other resources for the humans that are involved in wildlife rehabilitation for exactly the reasons that you just mentioned. You have to take care of yourself, because if you don't invest in yourself, you cannot do the job for the animals that you're taking care of
100%.
now or in the future. So yay. So investing in yourself is about animal welfare.
Yeah, actually, on that note, I'm gonna plug one more thing. There are some webinars on the website for NWRA for member benefits, and one of them is actually on compassion fatigue. So, investing in yourself, that is a thing you can learn about on there. We all, talk about compassion fatigue in our field, and there are resources on there as well to watch webinars about all sorts of things like that.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. Awesome. Thanks for letting me plug Partners for Wildlife. That was amazing. What is the mission of NWRA?
Oh goodness. I feel like we've kind of gone over this over and over and over
We
now.
have, but
But
let's hear the statements.
I'll tell you the mission statement. I'm going to read
The
it
official.
exactly for you so I get the words exactly
Yes.
correct. The National Wildlife Rehabilitators Association, NWRA, is dedicated to improving and promoting the profession of wildlife rehabilitation and its contributions to preserving natural ecosystems. I used my special announcer voice there. So.
I could tell, and I really appreciate it. It was perfect.
That's my special podcast voice. I didn't use it for the whole rest of the talk, but that's okay.
No, you got a great podcast voice regardless, but that was beautifully done. And no one saw this, but Amanda was kind of swaying back and forth just a little bit, kind of with the
I wanted to
cadence.
make sure she
It was
didn't
great. It was great. Okay, so with that, then, what are your goals and objectives? And I know we've talked a lot about this already, so just being able to state it, and then it will kind of make people just, oh yeah, that's in all the different things that we've already talked about.
Yeah, I mean, it does kind of all tie back together to continued improvement for the profession of wildlife rehabilitation through development of these standards and ethics and conduct, like we've talked about. We want to encourage networking and share knowledge. Cooperation is something we've kind of touched on, but not overtly. To have these people work together, right? To have everyone work together as a team and cooperate. We all have the same goal at the end of the day. We all want to help the animals get back to the wild. And I think fostering collaboration amongst our community is a really key way to do that.
Mm-hmm.
And then also just, to foster a respect for wildlife and the natural ecosystem. So, I think there is even information if you're listening and you're not a wildlife rehabilitator, there's still stuff you can take away from this about how to, work best in the environment and have a natural respect for wildlife and keep our ecosystem safe and healthy so that those wild animals can thrive out there.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that's a fun backwards kind of like backing into that sort of
Yeah.
thing because I mean, I think we talked about all of those
Yeah.
things, like our various examples and things really do fundamentally come back to core values and mission and all of
Yeah.
that.
I mean,
Exactly.
that's, at the end of the day, I love teaching and education, which is why I'm so invested in this organization and why I'm a board member. And why I became a board member is because I love teaching and education. And I saw what NWRA was doing and said, I wanna work with that. I want to support that. I want to, help push that forward the best I can. And help this profession that I'm so passionate about.
So thank you for leading me right into the next
Great.
piece. Is that, you know, I'm a rehabilitator, I'm a member, I go to the symposium, I do my rehab at home, but how else, and we've touched on a few things, but how else can I get involved in NWRA?
Those are all wonderful questions, Gail. And I will start by saying when I think I mentioned to Amanda, I was like, man, I want to be a board member for NWA one day. And she was like, okay, so apply. Like, why not like do it? Yeah. And I was like, oh, like, well, when I'm better, when I have more to
Mhm.
offer, she was like, no, like put in your application now then. Like you have something to offer, do it. And I was like, no, I couldn't. I'm not good. I'm not useful. I can't offer anything. I think we all feel that way about ourselves.
Mhm.
Like we're all like, oh, well, that person can give more, that person can do more. And she really was like, just do it. Like it's fine. So I applied, and I was elected onto the board. And I do feel useful there now, which I think is wild to me. Like, I hope I contribute at least, and I am very, very engaged with the board, and I'm a vice president actually as well, which yeah,
Ooh.
a lot. So that's just my
Mhm.
personal story, just to put anyone listening at ease, thinking like, no, I couldn't do it. You couldn't possibly. You can. You can do lots of things. So how to get more involved. Certainly, if you're not a member, become a member. That's a great starting
Mhm.
place to get involved. We also operate a lot of committees as our board, so you could join a committee. We have a membership committee. Amanda has the program committee. There's a whole list of them on the website, and some of them you don't need to be on the board to be a committee member for. So, for example, the veterinary committee. You could be a veterinarian working with wildlife and be on the veterinary committee and not be an NWRA board member, if that makes
Mhm.
sense.
Mhm.
Um, you could volunteer with us. You could submit a paper to our bulletin. You could make a financial donation. If you're just listening and you're like, this sounds great. I love the work. I don't work in wildlife rehabilitation. I don't want to be a member, but I want to support them. We are still, at the end of the day, a nonprofit. So
Mhm.
if you want to donate to support our mission, we would really appreciate that.
I think the committee work in particular is, I mean, obviously that's near and dear to my heart, but I do think that is a nice way to get involved. I also identify with that notion of eons ago when as a tiny baby, I was like, oh, my boss was like, you should be a board member. And I was like, well, I definitely am not qualified. I don't know anything. And I made some inquiries about it. And then I think just got, I don't know, overwhelmed with my own self-doubt. And I think at that point in time, the board wasn't necessarily as accessible. I think it very much is now.
Mhm.
And they are looking for more board members. But I do think the committee work is a nice first step, because rather than like throwing you into the deep end, you get to concentrate on a particular area and have
Mm-hmm.
meetings and give feedback and do the work and like get to know NWRA and its board and its members a little bit more if you're not familiar.
Mm-hmm.
And since there are so many committees and they're always looking for people with different areas of expertise as well. So again, yes, if you're a veterinarian, there's a committee for you. If you're really into research, there's a committee for you. On the flip side, if you're like, but I don't do a lot of direct animal work, there are many committees for you. There's a finance
Yeah.
committee. So people
Mm-hmm.
who love their numbers and spreadsheets, the finance committee is there. There's human resources, there's marketing
Mm-hmm.
for more, communications and marketing minded people. So I think that's a really nice first step in getting involved if you want to like test the waters a little bit and
And
get a
getting to
feel.
know where you'd fit best,
Yeah.
right? And see where you could be helpful, and where your skills fit best is really
Mm-hmm.
an excellent option. Yeah.
Wow. We've covered a lot of ground.
Well, there's one other thing, Amanda.
Yes.
We also have a really great job board, where you can post jobs, and also where if you're a job seeker, you can search for jobs. And I mean, I'm not looking for a job to be clear, but I still look at it all the time,
Mm-hmm.
just to see what's going on in our field, right?
Yeah.
To see who's hiring, what's out there, what new positions are people offering that maybe I should think about adding. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but it's a really great place, if you're working in this field, to look for a job if you need a job, or if you're have an opening to post a job. And
Okay.
I post jobs there all the time, and I can go in and see that hundreds of people have clicked on my job
Mhm.
posting, and we found tons of staff that way. So
Huh.
that's
Excellent.
a wonderful kind of networking connection-y thing that I think people don't necessarily know about. So
Ooh, I'm going to go back to the symposium for half a second.
yeah.
Well, longer than half a second. So, one of the things that NWRA did, I don't know how many years ago now, is invested in a app that is made for conferences, it looks like. And I don't know how to pronounce it. Is it Hova, Hova, Wova,
Hoover.
Wova?
I've
I
heard the
like
Hoover
Wova.
call
Can
it.
I just call it Wova?
You can do whatever you want. It's your podcast.
Anyway, can you talk about that for a second? Because that for an introvert, I
Yeah.
will tell you, I love the because I like the physical books and whatever. I always order a program book, always.
Yeah.
But I love that app, not just for looking at what's happening in what room and all blah 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 blah. But tell me what else is on
Oh my
that
goodness. Do you want
app?
Yeah,
you take this
I
one?
love
Amanda lives for
Hoover. I
Hoover.
live inside of Hoover for half of my year, 3/4 of the year between the two conferences that I'm
Mm-hmm.
involved with organizing, living on the back end. But yeah, it's not only great for organizing like your schedule and agenda and getting handouts and just
Mm-hmm.
organizing your symposium or conference life. But there's a whole community section there. So they
Mm-hmm.
have ways that you can really easily ask questions of other people or suggest meetups or start a little discussion thread. And it's so nice, yes, again, for introverts as well, to like break
Mm-hmm.
into it.
Mm-hmm.
Of somebody might just start a little community board of like, hey, do you have education reptiles? Because we have some and we are just looking for more information on best practices. And then other
Mm-hmm.
people are like, oh, we do, we do, we do. And, and then they trade tips and ideas. And you can entirely keep it on that message board and just kind of go off and touch base and message each other and make those contacts. Or at the symposium, I've seen plenty of little boards pop up of like, oh, are you an executive director? Let's meet for lunch on Thursday and just talk
Mm-hmm.
about being an executive director or that sort
Mm-hmm.
of thing. So,
I've also seen other like really just fun channels on there. I think last year, the year before, there was like a just post your wildlife tattoo.
Oh,
There was like a whole just
I
like
was thinking the same thing. The tattoo one was
list
great.
of just it was a bunch of people's photos of their wildlife tattoos,
yeah.
that they posted to share. And that, I mean, I know that sounds silly, but that is really networking. Because then you walk down the hall and you're like, hey, you're the girl with the snake
Yeah.
tattoo. And that does, I think, lead to building community as well.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. No, I agree. So I wanted to bring that up because I think that is such, at first I don't want to say skeptical, but it's like, how do you use it? You have to get on board with it and everything. And the other thing that it does is that it lists everybody that's at the conference
Yes.
and what state they're from, or almost all of them have their states listed. And I love that part of it. Especially if I do need to catch up with somebody, or if I've met somebody and I'm like, oh wait, I've got her name, but I don't have the phone number or whatever. I can contact her through the app and
Yeah.
say, oh, we met, blah blah blah. Can I get your email address or something like that? And I've been asked for mine and things like that. And it's a great way to connect during the conference, but even at right after the conference too. Yeah, I
Great.
love it. Is there like a really fun memory, really fun thing that you always look forward to, whether it's a symposium, whether it's being on the board of the directors, being on the program committee, something that has just always kind of sort of stuck with you? I'm putting you guys on the spot because I
Gosh.
didn't tell you I was going to ask you this. I just thought of it right now.
Oh my gosh. Well, one thing
There's
for
so
me
many.
that I love, so the board of directors, we meet in the city, the location that symposium is going to be at, usually about 6 months for before symposium,
Ooh.
for our annual meeting. And I
Mhm.
love doing that because I'll be like scoping it. I'll be texting
Mhm.
Amanda being like, good restaurant here, good brewery here, the hotel has a pool. So I love that week because we have a lot of meetings and we make a lot of progress, but I also feel like I'm on a scouting mission to report back to our team what symposium's going to be like and what they're going to see and what we might do, and what the hotel's like, and um all those kinds of things. So I love that aspect of being on the board. As far as like standout memories at symposium, I'll let you go first. I need to think more. It's Amanda's
No.
thing. She
No,
has a
I
lot
have
of
too
them.
many. I mean, it's been so many years of going. It's really it's the connecting with people and making friends. And I say that as someone who is naturally introverted and I think does have, struggle a little bit more with meeting people and making friends. But NWRA does something to me and it just I don't know. I just remember those years of being there and being like, "Oh my gosh, yes, like snapping back into NWRA mode and like just talking to people and connecting with people and making lifelong friendships and just so many fun times in between sessions and going out in the evening with people and laughing a lot. I don't know, Gail, it's like how we met and became friends of like, wow, this lady really likes birds a lot. Uh, but then I remember at some point, well, taking your seminar in 2016, we were in Oklahoma. I remember that very distinctly. And following you and Melissa and Jackie around a little bit, in a like you were really nice and accessible, but I wanted to also follow you around and talk about training like a lot. Unfortunately, you guys like doing that. But
We do. We love it. We
I feel
eat
like we met up
sleep
for
it.
dinner or did something, and I was like, but okay, but like talk to me more about my specific bird problems. And I feel like I was being a little annoying.
Mm-mm.
Um, but wanting to tap into all of this information while I had it right there. But
Mm-hmm.
then over the years, it became less about training and more just friendship and catching up. And I don't know. I do remember wanting to be friends with Melissa more and feeling like she was like a little too cool maybe for me, but then like being in her room at one point and we were laughing so much I thought I was going to pee my pants. I don't even know why. I was like, oh my God, are we actually friends now? So
You've reached that level. Oh man. Yeah, and I have stories of Melissa, a lot of Melissa Moore, and she was a mentor of mine before we started teaching together. And we've been friends for a very, very, very long time. And I have a story, which you know very well, Amanda, and it's a outcropping of NWRA and friendships and everything. When the pandemic hit, um, one of the things I was kind of looking around and they were announcing on radios and TV and whatever that people are doing Zoom happy hours and games on Zoom and everything. And I'm like, well, I want to do that. So I contacted some of my good friends through NWRA and some of the training world and things like that. And we started an every other week happy hour on Zoom, which has still continued to this day.
yeah.
Oh, that's so nice.
That, and when we've been at NWRA, I'm a big fan of escape rooms, and we've done many escape rooms
I love this.
on a free night.
I also just really, I do strongly associate each year with where it was and like
Yeah,
just
I do too.
those distinct memories of like it was really windy or it was cold or it was whatever.
Ate a lot of
This was the
cheese.
theme. Yes, that I was just going to say that of like when we were in Wisconsin and we were to get like the wildlife center sent a small contingent of people and I think we had we had adjoining rooms that year and there was like a cheese shop across the street and we bought an obscene amount of cheese and I feel like that whole week was just a haze of like our adjoining rooms and like there was cheese everywhere and just
I think I got invited one night and
We were
sampled some of
cheese.
the
We had a
cheese.
lot of cheese. It
Yeah.
was,
yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I think at that point you were trying to get rid of it. So it's like, come on,
Probably
Gail, come on over, eat some cheese.
over
Yeah.
cheese. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I didn't bring any cheese home, I remember. So
Yeah. We ate it all.
we ate it all. Yeah.
What's your memory?
Oh my goodness. That stands out
Cheese.
quite a bit. Cheese. Yep. Oh man, there's so many. And I think the thing that I think most about is I I don't want to make this, I hope this doesn't sound self-important, but I have been able to see my friends become friends. So, former interns become friends with people at places I used to work. And I've been seeing connections be made through, no, they were made through me. I don't mean it like that, but people I know that would not have been friends have come together and become friends by me being like, hey, come to NWRA, let's hang out, let's all get together. Um, and now they see each other at other conferences when I'm not there. I know like one of my good friends, Sarah, and one of my friends, Wallace, who's also on the board, they were both at a conference and they would never have known each other if they hadn't have met with me at NWA and they were at a different conference. They sent me a picture having dinner together and I was like, well, what the heck? Why am I not there?
Why am I not there?
Actively having a baby, so that's why I was not there. But I think seeing that community and network build as a result of NWRA just means so much to me. And now all these people get together every year, and they're all friends now, and it's just this wonderful, warm, cozy feeling to at the end of a very long day of teaching and learning and workshops and cleaning up and organizing to just say, who wants to come to my room for a glass of wine? And all the people you love most in the world suddenly appear in your hotel room, which is pretty cool.
Oh, what a wonderful place to end this conversation. I've had so much fun. I hope you have too, because
Yes.
NWRA organizations are very near dear to my heart. There's a lot of people who go beyond their rehabilitation work to try to benefit us all, and I have a lot of high respect for that and love that so much. So I really appreciate you guys coming on and talking about this. Any last things? Any last pro tips? Any last things you want to say?
Oh my goodness. I think for me, if you are thinking of becoming a member or thinking of coming to a symposium, just do it. If you're nervous or shy or worried, it's awesome. It has, been so enhancing to my life, so enhancing to my career, so enhancing to my professional abilities to do what I do. I think just join us. Come join our team. It's fun.
Yeah, I mean, I think we've covered it. It's these are your people overall. So if you should come to the symposium because it's amazing. Although I know that can be a tall order and they're, financially, it can be a lot to save up for and plan for. There are good resources like Karra mentioned, the scholarship committee and all that. But even if that's not quite in your plans for the next year, there are lots of other good ways to get involved as well and tap into this amazing community of people.
The symposium is generally, I know we're talking about NWRA as a whole, but the symposium is usually at the end of February or toward the end of February every year. So in 2026, it's in Baton Rouge, Louisiana.
Be
And I
there.
can't wait. Absolutely cannot wait. And one day, I think I might put in an abstract for talking about podcasting.
Oh, yeah.
We need more people talking about wildlife rehab on podcasts.
That's a great idea.
Yeah.
I know it's one on the program committee, so maybe you'll be accepted.
As long as it's not a 25-minute talk. Gail submitted, sometimes she submits like, I'll talk for 25 minutes. And I'm like, you won't. You never will. Rejected.
Reject. Like, what? What? No, you got to do it for an hour, or it has to be a workshop. I do like to
Podcast
talk.
workshop.
Ooh,
That's
interesting.
interesting, Gail. Yeah, a workshop on podcast is interesting.
Interesting. I don't know how I would exactly do that, but we can talk. We can talk. Thank you guys so much. I really appreciate it. It was a lot of fun.
Thank
And,
you for having us.
Yes.
And I will be seeing you at Symposium 2026. I want to thank both Dr. Karra Pierce and Amanda Nicholson for talking to us today about NWRA. Wildlife Rehabilitation from Rescue to Release is a production of Partners for Wildlife, working hand in hand with wildlife rehabilitators and the veterinarians to support them to improve the welfare of orphaned, ill, and injured wildlife. Our executive producer is me, Gail Buell. I'm the Partnership Coordinator for Partners for Wildlife with the Raptor Center at the University of Minnesota College of Veterinary Medicine. Our producer is Reese Rosado.